Hello viewers, and welcome to Parties Extra, sponsored by Party Galaxy. With me today is Carey Sue Vega, etiquette expert and director for the National League of Junior Cotillion in Oklahoma. She's here to talk about manners, social skills, parties, and classes. Welcome, Carey Sue.
Thank you, Helen.
A couple of years ago, we talked on a News OK podcast about your junior cotillion classes, your student and your adult groups, and you still have all these classes going. Plus, you've added some.
Yes.
So, you're also working with adults in the businesses. You also have a new venue for your parties. You really teach children how to be comfortable with all kinds of situations and how to treat people with respect. So, tell us first about party, social skills, what you teach the students.
That really is my goal. A lot of people, they wrongly assume that manners and etiquette and our cotillion classes are, sit up straight and I'm going to whack them over the hand with a ruler or something, and it's not. It's teaching children skills and adults, giving them the skills to make them feel comfortable in any social situation. There's nothing worse than going somewhere, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to handle yourself, and hopefully I can give people some tools to make them feel comfortable so they can go anywhere and do anything and know how to handle themselves with grace.
Is this a 6 weeks class, or is it
It varies.
All summer, all winter, or what is it?
It varies. For the, I say the little kids, the 5th grade through 8th graders, it runs throughout the year. We meet once a month starting in the fall, and the classes are about an hour and a half, and we do about half and half dancing and the manners, etiquette, social skills. The dancing is that's what makes it fun. We by no means are we professional ballroom dancers, but we like to have a good time with it. So we teach the basics of some dances and give kids some comfort level in those dances. And those classes meet once a month throughout the year, 5 times, and then we wrap up with a ball at the end of the season. The adult classes are completely different. That can be one class, that can be a series of classes. It just depends on if I'm working with a business and if I've done structured something specifically for their company, or if it's just a workshop, a one-day workshop.
And the balls, tell us about the parties at the end. I mean, those are at country clubs, aren't they?
Yes, the balls for the 5th through 8th graders, we did the 5th graders we did at the Nye University Center in their big ballroom, and it was a seated and served 3-course meal, where with the 5th graders it's basically sit there straight, halfway decently, chewing with your mouth closed, not eating the sugar packets, don't set anything on fire with the candles. Then the 6th through 8th graders, it's a little fancier. We do black tie, and that's actually at Gaillardia Country Club, and it's all seated and served, and then we follow the meal with a formal dance, a ball.
And they wear real pretty party dresses and corsages, and the tuxes? Do the guys wear tuxes?
Yes, the 6th through 8th graders are in black tie, and the high school kids, we actually kick it up a notch, and they're in white tie. That's the highest level of formality that they would ever be presented with, so we put them to the test. The girls, their dresses are a little fancier, more ball gown type dresses, and the boys are in white tie, the cutaway jackets with the white tie, kind of like the conductor, and it's just amazing to see them all dressed up.
Tell us about those high school classes. What do you teach? I mean, you take them places.
The high school kids, we take them on outings. We treat them like young adults because before they know it, the real world's going to be right there, and they're going to be faced with it all. So, how many times have you as an adult gone to a party and there's no place to sit, there's no place to put your food and drink, and you have to stand up and mix and mingle, and it's awkward and you're uncomfortable. So we put the high school kids in those types of situations. We take them to the Civic Center, and we see a Broadway play one year. Another year we'll see the Philharmonic Pops, and we do a little mocktail party before with them. Same scenario, food and drink.
So they have to hold their drink, their food?
Exactly. And we challenge them to meet new friends, and the high school kids really do enjoy it.
Well, how about those eating skills? I mean, there's a correct way to do that. So you teach them right there in class?
Yes.
That the knife goes?
Well, with their eating skills, we do a little bit of everything. With the little kids and the high school kids, we actually do table setting contests during the class.
Oh.
So we set up a table, and it's a contest. So we get a little bit of a spirit of competition involved there, and prizes and everything. And they get to whoever resets their place setting correct and first without breaking anything, they win. And so that then leads into the dinners. And with the high school students, we take them on some casual meals, and then we also do the formal dinner with the place setting. The formal dinner for the high school kids, it's a 6-course European style meal. So
Wow.
you sit down to the table and it's a little overwhelming with all of the silverware and the glasses and bread and butter plate and everything in front of you.
And you have to know.
Exactly.
Do you give a test?
We don't give a test. Some people ask, well, what if my child fails? Well, it's not a pass-fail. It's an experience. And the tools that we're giving the kids, once again, are tools that parents sometimes will say, well, they're not exactly doing this at home, but yet when they take them to a formal dinner or a fundraiser and their child pulls out everything that they've learned in class, they're like, oh, wow, it works.
And it does, I bet.
Yes.
What schools do they all come from?
Everywhere. We have students from the Oklahoma City metropolitan area. We have students from Norman. We have students from Edmond. We have private school students. We have public school students. We even have homeschool students.
Really? Just everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. And that's one of the things that the kids really enjoy about the program. They have an opportunity to meet people from all walks of life.
How did you, Carey Sue, learn this etiquette yourself? Did you take classes? How did you start?
Quite a few different things. One, I for 10 years I was a cruise director for Norwegian Cruise Line, and as cruise director, I was in charge of hosting my own table. You hear about the captain's table, but whenever you're over in Europe and you have the longer cruises, a lot of the senior officers have to host a table as well. So right there, I was presented with many formal situations and VIP parties, captain's parties, and so I learned a lot of it then. I also worked with a very fun gentleman who was an English butler.
On the cruise?
On the cruise.
Uh-huh.
And he taught me many, many fun things. And then when I moved to Oklahoma, I found out about the National League of Junior Cotillions. It's based in North Carolina, and I actually went through training. And they have a training program where they certify directors to come back and teach the curriculum and teach the program.
That's great. Well, you do this with your husband. I mean, I think he dances with you,
Yes.
or he teaches dancing, or how does that work?
Yes. My husband, Ricardo, he comes to all the classes with me, and I think it's a great role model for the boys. It's just not Mrs. Vega standing there. It's Mr. Vega is there with the students, and he's there to make the boys feel comfortable, and we're there as a team. So I think it's a great, we work off of one another. It's obviously for the dancing, it's a great partner to have, someone that you know that well, and it's a great pairing. And we have a really good time with it, and we both truly enjoy it. It's very, very rewarding.
What dances do you teach?
We teach the basics of the foxtrot, the cha-cha, the waltz, and the swing.
Oh my gosh.
And I always tell the kids, I don't expect you to break out a foxtrot at your next school dance, but at least you'll know how to dance somewhat appropriately. Appropriate dancing, what is that definition anyway?
Uh-huh.
So when they go to the next, family wedding or function, they can dance with grandma and grandpa. Exactly, they can waltz.
Uh-huh.
And the cha-cha and the swing actually are some fun dances that the high school kids really get into, and they actually do dance at some of their school dances.
How about country dancing, any of that?
Not really. We haven't gotten into the country dancing just because we don't have time. For the high school students, we actually add the salsa and merengue, and that's fun.
Well, you all are probably real good at that. Really good. Now, you said that some of your parents kind of wanted some classes too, so how did that come about?
For all of the younger students' classes, the 5th grade through the high school, we actually have the parents assist as chaperones, and it's really a good excuse for them to watch their child in action more than anything. They help with the refreshment table and some other things, but after the parents would chaperone their child's class, they would say, wow, that's great, I actually learned something. And so they would ask me for specific classes and ask me to come speak with their employees, and so that's kind of how everything has progressed. I've done some lunch and learns for social etiquette, for parties and entertaining. I've also done business etiquette lunch and learns, and I do private programs for businesses as well.
And you have one coming up in October, I think, at Nona's for the holidays. Tell us about that one.
Correct. The one in October is social etiquette, party planning for the holidays, and we have a really good time with it. It will be a seated and served luncheon, so we'll actually go through just table manners and table settings for luncheons, but we'll also talk about party planning for the holidays, whether it's entertaining for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, having a party in your home, or whatever it may be.
And what's College 101?
College 101 is a really, really neat program through the Oklahoma Youth Expo. The Oklahoma Youth Expo is the largest youth livestock show in the nation. And part of their scholarship program, at the end of the school year, the high school seniors are part of a program called College 101. You've graduated, now what? And so I work with the Youth Expo, and the Youth Expo brings in some financial planners, some professors from OSU, and just talks to the kids about, you've graduated, now what? Not, don't get yourself in financial debt. And then I work with them for about 2 or 3 hours that afternoon, and we finish the evening with a formal dinner out at Mr. Bob Funk's house. And it's a great, great experience for the kids from rural Oklahoma to be exposed to some really neat new things.
So do you help them also with manners for interviewing?
Yes.
I mean, for interviewing for jobs?
Yes.
Is that part of this?
Yes, and even with our regular high school programs and even our 7th and 8th graders, we talk about interviewing, how to conduct yourself in an interview. You may have a great resume, but if you don't have the social skills to go with it, it's one big package. So we do talk about, posture and interviewing and gum and all that good stuff.
Good. Well, so how can people get in touch with you? Do you have a website?
We're working on a website right now. If they'd like to email me at careysue@cox.net, and that's CareysUE, careysue@cox.net. That's probably the easiest way. The National League of Junior Cotillions has a website, and that is nljc.com, and that tells you a little bit more about the program that we offer for the 5th grade through high school students.
Well, we didn't talk about this, but are there any new etiquette rules?
Wow, with technology and yes, it seems like things are coming up that just even a couple of years ago we never would have thought. Just in the few years that I've been doing this, we talked in the beginning, we would talk about telephone manners and how to answer your phone at home and how to take a message and things like that. And now when I talk about that with the kids, they look at me like, answer our home phone? Why would I answer the phone at home when I have my own cell phone? So we talk about cell phone etiquette and texting, and just so many kids are so connected to their phones. They don't even know how to carry on polite conversation with their friends or with adults. And so we really do, there are some new twists and turns to etiquette.
And so do you tell them to turn them off when they're having dinner, or what do you give some rules in that regard?
Yes, we do give some rules in that regard, and it's actually pretty funny to see at the end of the season. The kids learn real quick that their cell phones are not acceptable during class, that they're turned off, and they do not get to touch them for the hour and a half that we're in class together.
That's hard.
And yes, it is hard. And at the ball at the end of the year, the seated and served dinner, long evening, we talk about it, and at the tables, as much as I would like to trust the kids, I don't turn them alone at a table by themselves. So we have an adult chaperone at the table, and I always go over the rules for the chaperones, and the chaperones are usually always the ones that I have to go over and threaten taking away their cell phones. Because the kids are going. So
it's pretty good. Well, anything else about the Junior Cotillion you want to tell us?
It's just a very, very fun program.
And how many do you see during the year?
It depends on probably a total of about 500, over 500 kids that we see between 5th grade, high school, the Youth Expo, even our adult programs. So we have quite a few lives that we're touching.
Very good. Anything else?
I love what I do.
Thanks for coming by and reminding us how to sit up straight, knife blade goes towards you, and to use a tablecloth whenever you can. Thank you again, and thank you Jim Valiant and Kathy Blair for the lovely peonies from Tractus.